To those who are joining me for the first time, my name is Tina, and I'm gonna show you guys around my art studio this evening. It's a cozy little evening. The sun is starting to set, so I thought we'd get a little cozy in here and look around. For those of you who are joining me for this second video, welcome back. I'm glad you're back. I'm drinking tea. That's what I was making in the kitchen. For those who can't have caffeine past a certain hour, like me, and if you love tea, rooibos tea is a delicious red tea. I add a little bit of steamed milk and honey to it, and it's a very, very delicious evening beverage. So I think what we're gonna do is we're going to change the lighting, because you're gonna have a hard time seeing all the things with the lighting like this. Although I love it, it's so cozy, but I'm gonna unfortunately have to turn on the overhead light, so let me do that. Phew, okay. So different. That's okay. This is great when I'm painting, by the way. Okay, so let me show you. I'm gonna flip the camera around and then I'm gonna show you around. Okay, so this is a multifunctional room. We're not gonna look at this over here. The situation has yet to be resolved, but we will look at this. I hope to turn this into a gallery wall with artwork from various artists. I love to have other people's art in my home, not just my own, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I prefer to have different forms of art. This couch has been in here. It's one of those IKEA couches. It's also multifunctional. This pulls out into a bed. This lifts up and there's storage in there. It's really, really great. Very useful for the entire family. So that's staying. I don't plan to move that. And also once, when I need a break and I want to read, I come and plop down on this couch, and so does the rest of my family, and so does this little one right here. This is her new favorite spot, which I don't blame her. It's pretty cozy. So, got some frames sitting here that I plan to, I thrifted these frames, by the way, but I do plan to use these for artwork and for the gallery wall. I don't know who that is, so. But yeah, very cute frames that I got at a thrift store for like $1 each. I mean, that's just, you can't beat that. So, kind of liked this. This is actually a card, and I cut it out and stuck it in there because I thought it was pretty cute. So that's that side of the room. So this room is pretty small, but there's a lot packed in here. So let's look at it from this angle. Got some plants. This desk we've had for quite a while. I think we got it on Amazon. It's space saving. It's awesome. It actually folds up. I can actually fold it up into this section, and it's just mounted on the wall for whenever I need the space or we need the space. It's a really excellent space saving option if you are working with small spaces. I really love it. It's got little, ignore all my art prints. I'm preparing that for the next portion of this video, but I love it. It has all sorts of little compartments where I can put my little knickknacks, goodies, random things that I have to go with my art studio. I love books, so naturally I've got some books sitting there. I plan to collect more books, just about different artists. I'm really excited about this one. I'll probably talk about this one in a different video. So that's my desk. It even has a whiteboard on the front of it. Probably would be really great for, homeschooling or for whatever. If I wanted to make notes on there or, I don't know, draw pictures, I guess. I don't know. Of course, I've got to have my plants. I love real plants. I've got 3 real ones. I think I introduced them in my first video. This is Patsy. No, sorry, this is Deborah. I think that's Marge, and I think this is Patsy. I might have them turned around. I just named them, so I'm getting used to their names myself, but they needed to have names. This is a fake one right here. And then I put these shelves up on the wall because I needed a place to have my art prints. These are many of my art prints. They're kind of stacked in there. But I wanted to have them up as display because I need to be able to keep track of inventory. I have an online shop, so I just need to know how many prints I have of each print at all times. And this is very, very helpful to be able to keep track. And I might even add another shelf up here because I have more prints coming, and I will have more prints coming. So, and then I have another little cart, which I have two. This is my chair. I've got some acrylics sitting down there, but this cart is probably going to get disorganized pretty quickly, but it's one of those carts you can either get at IKEA or Walmart or Target. I think they have them everywhere now, but it's so great to store your art supplies. So I have all my art pads, sketchbooks, watercolor, paper, journals, visual journals, everything is up here. I have all my paints, my watercolors, I have illustration markers, I have pastels, more watercolors, my paintbrushes, more paintbrushes, more watercolors, all sorts of stuff. And then I love these little tubs that you can kind of hook on the sides and put whatever supplies you need in them. And then I have more journals, my dirty paint jar, more watercolor pads and a little canvas. And down here I have a thermal printer, some packaging stuff, a cloth, a scale. I have a tabletop easel, and I forget what this board is called, but it comes in very handy for painting and working on. Yeah, it's great. I love having that cart. And then I have this giant closet in here with so much stuff in it. There's so much going on in here. This is for when I do pop-ups. It's a display rack. It's so great for my art prints and for my hand-painted magnets that go there. This is another art piece that I plan to add onto the wall. So this big closet used to just be with, there just used to be a bunch of stuff in here, a bunch of random things that we would store as a family. But then eventually I thought I wanted to make an art nook, not an art nook, a book nook for my kids. And I did. And so there was like a little nook with pillows and books over here. There still somewhat is. I left this pillow in here in the middle in case my son or my daughter wanted to plop down there and read a book while I was working in here. More kids' music stuff. This shelf I mounted onto the wall. Just a lot of random goodies. But these tubs right here have a lot of my pop-up things in it that I store in there. I just did not have another place for it. This painting I decided to just put up here because it's nostalgic. It's just a really good painting from my husband's grandmother, who has now passed, but she was an amazing artist, and I just wanted to have one of her pieces in my art studio. I thought it was fitting, and I love her work. Yeah, I painted this interior green because, I don't know, green it's just so lively and fun, and I wanted it to be fun for my kids while they were still using it. But they ended up not using it much, so, which is why I've kind of turned it into a space to store my stuff, and I put nooks in their own rooms. So more art stuff for pop-ups, another cart for organizing materials that are specific to my pop-ups that I do, and markets, and basket with frames and random things I need for decor. Another one of those crates that I put on the wall. So I've been putting canvases in there, blank canvases that I need for painting. And then I have totes that I hang there. This is for filming, a little tub in case I wanted to add paints in there. But all of this stuff up here is craft stuff. I mean, there's just so much going on. There's some Christmas decorations, books, notepads, kids stuff, paints, and then more stuff for my pop-ups and more little canvases that I use. So I have a lot packed in here. This closet is pretty big and I'm very thankful for it. Okay, so that was just a brief tour of my little artist nook, little studio nook that I really am thankful to have. It's really nice just to have a space that's belongs to my art, so it's not spread all over the house like it was before. So that's it. I hope you enjoy the next portion of this video, which will be a tour of my art prints. Hi, in case you're wondering why I'm wearing a different outfit, it is the next day. I filmed what I could yesterday, but I had to save the art print tour for today because I just needed a little bit more time. I hope that you enjoyed the art studio nook tour that I did. There's definitely much more to do that I'd like to just kind of change and update in here over time, but I just needed to get this space functional. So it's in a good spot for me right now. I can work in here and it's cozy. It's a little cluttered and I'd love to change that, but we'll worry about that as time goes on, and I'll definitely keep you guys in the loop on little studio nook. But right now we are going to do an art print tour. So we're gonna actually look at my art today, which I'm excited about. I love my art. So I'm going to show you my art prints. I do original work on canvas, but much of the time, all of the time, really, I sell those and then they're gone. But my art prints are from my original watercolors, which I hold on to. I don't know, I'm sentimental, I guess. I just can't part with my original watercolors. So I make art prints of my watercolors and then I sell those at pop-ups, in my online shop, wherever I have the opportunity to sell them. And they do pretty well. And so I'm going to show you not my entire collection because there's a lot of them. It will take a lot of time, but I'll show you some of my best sellers and just some of the ones that are my favorites. And I'll kind of give you a little bit of background on each piece, and you know, if I have a story behind it, I'd love to share that too. So let's take a look. Okay, I didn't know the best way to go about doing this. I'm probably just gonna hold them up and show you guys, and hopefully I'll have a better way of doing it in another future art print tour, because my art prints are ever developing and I'm continuously producing them and creating, and so I'm sure I'll have another tour in the future. So let's start with seasonal. So I have 4 that I chose out of my seasonal pieces. This is the first one. This was out of my kitchen window in our last house. And this was at the beginning of fall. You honestly could mistake this for spring, but this was at the beginning of fall when the leaves started to turn. And the colors were not far off from what you're seeing in this print. I try to capture them as closely and match them as much as I could, and this is what I got. But this was, yeah, just capturing the turning of the leaves, and it was gorgeous, and I just had to paint it. This was on a train ride to Oklahoma City. It was just Texas skies at dusk, and this was just kind of a field with just gorgeous, just evening time landscape as the sun was setting. And so I just kind of snapped a picture out of the window, and this is what I got. And I just, yeah, thought I should paint that for sure. I do love the colors in this one. I love earth tones, and so I try to incorporate as much as I could in this. I think this season was either exiting summer or going into summer. I can't remember, but this is what it looked like. This is fall, my favorite season. I love fall. I could paint fall landscapes for days. Excuse my hair, and it keeps hanging over my face, and that's probably annoying to look at, but I'll try to keep it out. This was inspired by a trail near our house. It's a gorgeous trail, just trees, and when the leaves turn, it's gorgeous as well. So this was inspired by that scene. I didn't paint from a photograph or anything. I just kind of had that in mind while I was painting this, because I love taking a stroll in the woods and just admiring gorgeous nature around me as I'm walking. This was an imaginative piece. I also love winter. I'm kind of a cool weather person, but I love winter, and so this was obviously inspired by snowfall, which we've gotten a good amount here in Texas over the years. But I love the fresh first snowfall and the way that the snow sits on the trees and on the ground when it's still white and fluffy. And this one was kind of, I think I was thinking about snowfall at night with this particular color palette. So that's what I came up with. So sometimes I'll do from pictures I've actually taken, and sometimes I'll do imaginative, just dependent on what is inspiring me in the moment. Okay, this piece is one of my more recent pieces. I had realized that I just hadn't done any actual nighttime landscapes, which I love landscapes at night. I think it's mysterious and gorgeous and captivating. So I did a few of these. This is the only one I have in a print. The others I actually have hand painted on magnets that I sell at my pop-ups, but this is a print that I had, and this was imaginative. I was just thinking about meadows at night and the sky lit up and mountains in the background. I think it's probably a little bit more playful than it is realistic because mountains don't look like this at night, but I loved the lighter mountain with the darker backdrop. The sky and the stars just felt more mysterious to me and captivating. So that's a nocturnal, I think it's called Nocturnal Meadows is the name of that piece. And then here's another piece that I did a few years ago. This is called The Garden. And this was inspired by Garden of Eden. I did not go by photograph on this piece. This was also imaginative. And I just thought, I wonder what it would have looked like. And I just kind of allowed my mind to wander into just the beauty of gardens and the skies and the lighting and the kind of plants that may be in a beautiful garden with the cobblestone. I don't know if this would be cobblestone, maybe flat stone walkway, which I always love. And of course, like an arch with plants growing over it. It's one of my favorite things. I'd love to have that in my backyard. But the focus of this piece was really the color usage. I tried to make it as vibrant and colorful as I can because that's what I think of when I think of a garden. So that was that piece. Let's go through my bookish, cafe, cozy, coffee shop prints. This was a blast to do. I did a 5-day challenge last year where I did one painting each day for 5 days, and the theme was coffee shop, bookshop, cafes, bookish things. So this one I actually did this year. This was not included in the challenge, but it's included in the category, and this is just a cute little spring cafe. I did this a few months ago, and kind of lighter color palette. Pink is one of my new favorite colors. I didn't love it growing up, but I do love it now. So that's the spring cafe. This one is inspired by a trip to New York, and I love the housing styles in New York, and you know, like the Brooklyn townhomes, and there's bookshop on every corner, and it's just, I love it. It's also was kind of fall themed, so I have little pumpkins on top of the bookshelves and the windows. This color scheme was a little bit of darker hues, but more plums, browns, dark greens. But this was inspired by visiting New York last year with my husband. And then this is inspired by an actual coffee shop around the corner from my house. It's a coffee and tea house, and one of my favorite places to go. I often go there to just read or do some remote working. And this is the actual interior of the coffee shop. So I snapped a picture and then I illustrated it and painted it because I just think it's so cute in there. They have a ton of plants. and it's awesome. This was also during the fall. As you can see, there's got a pumpkin garland down there because I love pumpkins and I love fall. So that is Melby Coffee and Tea House here in the North Texas area. And then this one was also imaginative. This was, what do I like in a coffee shop or a cafe when I walk in? What do I like to see? What do I like to feel? So this was imaginative, but I made sure to include all of my favorite things, you know, like a little sofa, couch, armchair with a little throw blankie, a little lamp with the mug. We've got, of course, the coffee bar, warm lighting, plants, a bookshelf, a fall wreath, naturally. This was also done in the fall. The whole challenge was done in the fall, so that's why a lot of it is fall themed, but I do plan to do more of these this year because I just loved doing it so much. Illustrating is so much fun for me. I have to be careful to not only focus on illustrating all the time, which maybe it'll come to that, but that's not where I'm at right now. But I really loved this one. Okay, let's jump into some landscapes of places I've actually been. So in 2015, my husband and I lived in Osaka, Japan, and we were over there. He was teaching English, and we had our 1-year-old, and we were living there for about 10 months and loved it. Japan is an artist's dream because it's beautiful and inspiring. And this was a scene in Arashiyama, Kyoto. I stood right there, took this photograph, knew in that moment I was going to paint it because it was so gorgeous. I did make the colors more vibrant. It wasn't as colorful that day, but leaves were turning because it was also kind of fall going into winter. And if you look real closely, there's a little man, Japanese man in his boat, and he was actually there on the river that day. But Arashiyama, Kyoto is absolutely gorgeous. It's a big tourist attraction, and if you have the means to go at any point in your life, you have to go. And this piece is called Arashiyama. And then this piece is also Arashiyama, just from a different view. And this is I believe a bridge that we crossed over, but just absolutely gorgeous. Japan from any angle is breathtaking and clean, and just they take really good care of their land. So I wanted to honor Japan by doing a couple of paintings of their place. Really, really lovely. This one involved a lot of detail and it took me some time, but I really, really enjoyed it. Okay. Let's look at some children's art. Well, I wouldn't call it children's art, maybe children's book illustrations. So I grew up watching Chronicles of Narnia. Was totally taken aback by The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Loved that movie, still love that movie, love the characters in that movie, love the story of that movie. And just recently I had the privilege of doing a pop-up at a bookshop that had a Narnia day. Everything was Narnia themed. It was awesome. And so I did these illustrations for that particular pop-up. So here is a piece that I did. It's called Beyond the Wardrobe. I had to include Lucy and Mr. Tumnus, and of course the wardrobe, the lamp, the witch's castle in the background, snowy ice-cold land when the witch was kind of still ruling. But this is one of my favorite pieces by far. If I had to choose, I think I'd maybe choose this one. I really, really enjoyed it. And then this is another Narnia piece of Lucy and Aslan. You can see Lucy right there and Aslan, and they're kind of looking at the castle. This piece is titled Welcome Home. This is after Aslan has come back to life and breathed new life into the land, and that the color came back into the land, and I just really loved that scene, so I really wanted to paint it. And yeah, loved it. Love Chronicles of Narnia. Okay, some more landscapes. This was in 2021. My husband and I had the privilege of going out to Washington. And let me tell you, to this day, I'm obsessed. I hope that I can go back at some point because I fell in love with Washington. It was breathtaking. Everywhere you looked, it was like a scene to be painted. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I could not believe how gorgeous it was. So this was a scene out of, this is when we visited Snoqualmie Falls, and it was a rainy, misty day, just gorgeous. And this is a photograph that I took, and I didn't plan on painting it when I took it, but I did, because why not? It was a gorgeous, gorgeous scene. And there's a little, creek down below. It was filled with lush green trees of all kinds, just went on forever. Absolutely gorgeous. And then, of course, that was from one viewpoint, and this is from another of Snoqualmie Falls. This was the actual waterfall that we got to just stand there and stare at it, because that's all I wanted to do. It was just so beautiful and peaceful. This was one of my favorites, and this is actually one of my best sellers. People love the waterfall. So that's Washington. And then here's one from Cannon Beach, Oregon. This was a walkway as we were walking up to the beach. Again, my husband and I were on a trip. This was also in 2021, and I just had to take a snapshot of this scene because it was gorgeous. The sun was kind of starting to set a little bit as we were walking down, and I just thought it was really, really pretty. The shadows of the trees and the colors and the sky. A lot of fun memories from that trip. Oregon also equal to Washington in the beauty. Would love to go back. Okay, and here is some local art right here in Fort Worth, Trinity River. This is, gosh, when did I do this? I think I did this in either 2020 or 2021. This is near kind of a trail where we lived in Fort Worth at the time. Not far from where we are now, but this was at sunset along the Trinity River. And I hadn't had any pieces of Fort Worth at that time, so I thought I needed to add some Fort Worth paintings to my collection. So this was really fun to paint. It was kind of spur of the moment, but I thought it was really pretty to capture. And then this was also Trinity River. This was during the day, like earlier in the day. Obviously the colors are brighter and the clouds were more pronounced, sky was more blue, water was more blue. So I just wanted to capture a different part of the day of the same river. That's right here in Fort Worth. A lot of fun. Okay, what do we have left? Man, that was fast. Okay, these last two. So I started a snail mail club back in March, and it's been so much fun, and I'm loving it, and I plan to continue it. And I'll show you guys these two prints. You won't find the snail mail prints anywhere because they're exclusive to the snail mail club. But I'll show you these because the recipients have already gotten their art mail. Oh, did I say it's a snail mail art club? It's a snail mail art club. So art right to your mailbox. But these have already been sent out, so I'm not doing any spoiler alerts by showing these. But I just thought I'd give you a peek into what those prints are like. So they're a lot more playful and fun. This was the very first print that I had sent out, the very first package I'd sent out. So the theme was Welcome to my Snail Mail Art Club. And obviously I had the idea of a mailbox and then little envelopes flying out with little hearts in them, just as a welcome. And sending my love out to those who have joined the club. So had a lot of fun with that. Try to make my art very colorful because that's what I'm attracted to generally. Sometimes it'll be more subdued, but generally I'm trying to add as much color as I possibly can into my artwork because it brings me life. This was the second art print that I had sent out. This theme was Vintage Garden Party, and it was a lot of fun to think through what I wanted to add into this particular piece. But I had like vintage tablecloth and chairs and, you know, table settings, candles, little blankie, pillow, vintage themed. So it was just a lot of fun to play around with. But this is the kind of art that I do send out to the Cinema Art Club. And I think that's it, guys. That is the art print tour for today, at least. I do have more, and maybe I'll do like a part 2 of my art prints, and I'll definitely in the near future do a video on how I make my art prints and just my whole process behind that. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm thankful to have shared my art with you today, and I hope to share with you more. I hope to see you next time. Have an awesome week.